Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Casual Movie Club. This is the podcast where a couple of friends just hang out, watch a movie, have a couple drinks, discuss it, rate it, review it for your listening pleasure. With you, as always, I am your host, Brian, and with me is my co-host, John.
Hey, what's up there, champ?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Rather than dispense with my my typical, trying to allude to the movie in my opening thing, we did $1 Million Baby. And fuck you for your poker face, by the way, because I violated a little rule.
You did.
When we watched this.
I felt violated when it was happening to me.
As you should. As you should. But the rule that I violated was that we really didn't talk about sort of what we thought of the movie while watching the movie. So that we save sort of as much as possible for this, for you, for this recording that we're doing. I couldn't hold it in. So this movie was incredible.
So this was about the halfway point. I was looking at the timer as the film was going on. This is a long movie. It clocks in at 2 hours 12, and it was about an hour and some change in when we just stopped for a beverage break.
When you felt violated.
When you violated me against my will.
I didn't hear any complaints.
I knew, right? Yeah, I knew I liked it. The violation, seriously though, you exclaimed that you liked the movie. I had made up my mind about the movie a little bit before then. Yeah. I was still like, I see where this is going. I see where this is going.
Yeah.
At what point was there a particular scene where you were like, you knew that you liked it, or did it happen gradually and then the pause just kind of let it all hit you all at once?
It happened, yeah. It happened kind of gradually, and sort of when there was that big plot twist that I did not see coming at all.
Which plot twist?
Where she broke her neck and became a paraplegic.
Oh, I'm talking about, like, you said that you loved the movie at the halfway point when she was at the diner with Scab.
Yeah.
Or
Scraps? Scraps, whatever.
When I was taking my notes, I refer to everybody by their actors, by their real name.
Yeah, no, I think that makes it easier.
Yeah.
Honestly. But, no, I can't say that it's one specific thing that made me... Hold on a second. My mic is like super, super hot right now. My mic. It's so hot right now.
All the rage. So hot.
I know. All right. That should be a little better. It shouldn't be as... Okay. There we go. I have the same settings every single time, but for some reason, this week I was like... Okay. So... it wasn't one specific moment that made me go like, this is an amazing movie.
Sure.
It was just everything collectively. We've definitely seen things like this where, Morgan Freeman plays a sort of old sage character and he's got this monologue going. That was kind of very Shawshank Redemption.
Why is he always narrating? Why is he narrating everything?
So, full disclosure, I'm going to show you right now. Look at how many notes I took.
That's like 3 sentences, yes. I see, in addition to your scores.
Yes. So I took next to no notes on this.
Look at my notes.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I have thoughts about this film.
Okay. No, and that's good. I want to, I want to know what your thoughts were, but this movie was probably one of the best movies I've seen for this podcast.
Agreed. 100%.
Hands down, and when you were saying like, oh, I forgot to score it, I knew my scores by the end of the movie. My scores are pretty clear. Mm-hmm. As crazy as it sounds, I almost want to do my scores now, but I know that's not the way we do this.
We keep it casual.
Right, we keep it casual. We're going to talk about the movie, but I want my score. Like, I'm so excited to reveal my scores because of how much I love this movie.
Well, let's do it. Yeah, let's lead off with the scores, and then if there's anything in my notes that we haven't really covered by then we'll just go.
Let's not.
Oh, you want to tease it out?
Yeah, we got to tease it out a little bit. Let's not.
Oh, dirty.
Let's not go right to the orgasm. Let's we got to do the foreplay. We got to get into it. So, yeah, I mean, I there was some things about the movie, and tell me if you feel this way, but I was kind of trying to predict where certain things were going, but then they didn't go there, and I was like, that's interesting.
Glad you brought up this line of thought here. Did before this watch, how much of this film did you know, plot wise, anything at all? You knew it was a boxing movie?
Yeah, I knew it was I knew Hilary Swank, who she's one of my favorite actresses, by the way. I knew Hilary Swank was in it. I knew Clint Eastwood was in it. I knew it was a boxing movie, and I knew it was good. Mm-hmm. That was the extent of my knowledge of the movie. I didn't know, by the way, that it had won 4 Oscars. By the way, I want to mention this. It won Best Motion Picture of the Year for 2004. It won Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role for Hilary Swank, Best Performance in an Actor in a Supporting Role, Morgan Freeman, and Best Achievement in Directing for Clint Eastwood. Mm-hmm. Now I want to see something here. Can IMDb tell me how many Oscars Clint Eastwood has won? Because he is no stranger to Oscars. This is a film legend.
Yeah, if you click on Clint Eastwood, like it should be up there how many awards he's won. I want to know if this is, I'm pulling up IMDb myself. I want to know if this is his first directorial debut, if this is his first movie he's directed.
I don't think so, but I'm looking here. So 2015. Okay, so this was. Let me look. So he was nominated a lot. Clint Eastwood's only won 4 Oscars. He was nominated a lot more, but he was only won 4. So 2005 is the last time he won the Oscar, and that was for $1 Million Baby. So I guess it was a 2004 movie, so 2005 Oscars. But so he won the Oscar for Best Motion Picture. He won the Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award. He won in 1993 for Unforgiven. That's 2 Oscars, but he won. You said he won 4, but I guess now we're into Golden Globes. Best Director for $1 Million Baby. Now, this is another thing I really like about Clint Eastwood. He scored this as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's done the music for a number of movies of his as well. And he won the Golden Globe for the score for this movie. One of the things you'll notice with a lot of Clint Eastwood scores, a lot of like piano, heavily influenced on the piano, piano stuff. He did the score for Sully as well, I think, or he co-wrote some stuff for the score for Sully. But there's a lot of
he produced. He was listed as a producer on Scully, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
He scored. Yeah. Soundtrack. So IMDb has him listed as directing 40 different films. His first one back in 1971. He did a lot of the westerns he's known for. He's directed all those. Yeah. So I had no idea he was such a prolific director.
Oh yeah.
I thought
he's a prolific everything.
Yeah, this guy he just does it all.
Yeah.
He did Mystic River in 2003. He did Space Cowboys. That crazy.
Yeah, the one with him and I think Tommy Lee Jones and I forget who the other guy was. I saw that movie. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But Clint Eastwood he's a living legend.
He is, yeah.
He's a legend. And you know what? Who else? I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, because this is, a couple drinks in, I'm tired at the end of the day. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that has had this kind of prolific career like he has.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably come up with somebody eventually.
We might have to do a little internet research.
But it's hard to think of somebody that is this accomplished. And I'm actually surprised he hasn't won more awards. To be honest, but
right, but that being what it is, this movie, I think you and I both agree, was pretty damn good.
Very, very good.
Incredible. Now, what I wanted to ask you is, did you feel like any of this movie felt slow? Because that's something I was worried about. When you told me the movie is 2 hours and 12 minutes, I was like, oh great, how this is going to be super slow, because I'm automatically thinking it's a drama, so it's probably going to drag. It's going to be a lot like Requiem for a Dream, or something that's
well, first off,
something
disagree with you there. Requiem for a Dream was not slow.
It felt slow to me.
To me, all right.
I'm pretty sure I even said that on the podcast. If not, I've got to go back and listen. But none of this movie felt slow to me. It felt appropriate.
There were times where I thought it was going to slow down, and then it didn't. So I would agree to you that there were no real dragging parts to it. Now, this is my first viewing of this film.
Same here.
I knew about this film just based off of pop culture references.
Yep.
There's an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia that kind of spoofs the ending to this. There's a number of references to this movie, so I knew that this was a movie about boxing, and this was, the accent was going to happen. I knew when it was going to happen.
Oh, so you knew she was going to break her neck?
I did, yes, but only because of again previous pop culture references to this.
Okay.
It was more impactful than I thought it was going to be, considering the fact that I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was very powerful.
Like, did you know when it was going to happen?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did.
Okay.
But it was still great. I knew this was a movie about euthanasia also. I knew that she asked him.
I didn't know that.
And he was going to also.
Yeah.
Again, like
this, you're not talking about young people in Asian countries, correct?
not youths in Asia. I'm talking about euthanasia.
I know. It's a terrible joke. I'm sorry.
That's a good joke. It's fine. But
youth in Asia.
I thought it's even 10 plus years on. This came out 2004. This is like
15 years.
15 years later. It's so good. And
January 28th, 2005. So
it was
14 years,
it was
I guess.
still amazing.
It was incredible.
Now, I'm interested in subsequent viewings. If it will drag at parts.
I think it might.
I think it might.
I think it might.
I think the film as a whole will still hold up. Speaking for myself here, got a little emotional at some parts.
I did too.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, I strategically turned myself on the couch so you wouldn't see.
Shedding a little tear.
They didn't come out. I kept it together. They were there. They were on the edge of falling, but boy, it was tough.
And honestly, I mean, I felt that, and I didn't get to the point where I was shedding tears, but I was feeling the impactfulness of it and the performances and everything. But when you see, like, okay, Clint Eastwood is a prolific and amazing person, amazing accomplished person, but he's an ugly crier. So
I think most people are ugly criers. It's rare to see, like,
Hilary Swank was not an ugly crier. When she's laying there on her deathbed,
right? I'll give you that, but I've seen her in other films where she's an ugly crier.
Okay, but Clint Eastwood was ugly crying in the church for sure. Like, we're talking. Oh yeah, ugly crying, snot coming down his nose for sure. But like, that felt so real to me.
He was going through it.
Yeah,
it was very well done. I even wrote a little note about how powerful that particular scene was.
Right.
He was just ravaged with guilt and grief, and he wanted to end. This is his surrogate daughter. This is somebody that he loves very, very much, and she's asking him to end her suffering.
Right.
That's no kind of life for a fighter to live.
No,
to be in that kind of state.
Exactly. And like, she even said to him when she was telling him about this, she said, I was born, really, like, prematurely, like, lightweight. I fought to get into this world, and I fought to get out of it. I don't want to fight you to get out of it.
Yeah.
To get out of this world, and like, there's just the bond between the two of them. I didn't realize just how strong that was going to be. I thought it was going to. I was almost expecting like a Karate Kid type thing, where it was going to be like a mentor and mentee kind of thing. And it was kind of never going to go beyond that. But, you know, like you said, Clint Eastwood was almost looking at her like a surrogate daughter because his own daughter kept returning his letters to him and whatnot. And, you know, like he almost took her under his wing, not only as his prize fighter, but also kind of like his daughter, someone he can kind of take care of, because he made sure that she got into the best rehab center. He called all the doctors to try to find someone to work on her. You know, he didn't have to do that. It's just her boxing trainer. But, you know, he was so much more than just her boxing trainer.
After a year and a half of spending every day with somebody.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to form that kind of bond with her.
Right.
And I loved... See, that there's a lot that we can read into this also that I think that Eastwood it's funny that you brought up Karate Kid too. Did you know Hilary Swank was a Karate Kid?
Was she?
She was in the sequel, The Next Karate Kid, with
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. It was like 1994.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Pat Morita.
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi was. Yeah. So like she's the next Karate Kid.
Holy shit.
She's in the sequel.
Hold on a second. Okay, hold on a second. I need to...
1994.
Was it 94?
94.
Same year. No, 10 years before she did $1 Million Baby, she did Karate Kid.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But back to $1 Million Baby, the things that they did to telegraph... Clint Eastwood's relationship with her. Yeah. Things like letting her hurt herself. I feel like they didn't explicitly spell this out to the viewer, but it felt like that he didn't think it was a good idea to visit her mom. And he didn't think it was a good idea for her to buy her mom the house. You could kind of see the awkwardness on his face, but, you know, I mean, he was letting her make her own choices. Yeah. And seeing that she got hurt, I mean, that's part of it. Right. Like, that's part of, like, letting your kids grow up, letting your kids go out in the world, and sometimes you got to let them make their own mistakes.
Right, and I loved how she handled that, you know, like how that whole thing went down with when the family came to visit her in the rehab center. Mm-hmm. I loved all of that.
Yeah.
You know, that was because I was fully expecting... You know, I was expecting the family to come visit her at some point, but I wasn't expecting the family to be, you know, so just backing up a second. So unless I understood this incorrectly, the family came out to, we never really knew where they were, right? Were they in California? I don't know if they ever said.
It seemed like it was in California because she was running on the beach a lot.
True. Okay.
And so flying out the 6-hour drive back from Las Vegas in the ambulance, that adds up to California.
That makes sense.
She's from, where is she from? Missouri, Mississippi?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I liked her accent, by the way. It was believable.
Yeah.
Definitely believable. Okay, so I loved how, you know, the family basically... You could tell there was an awkwardness in the family dynamic from when she went to visit her mom and showed her mom the house, and her mom was so ungrateful. Her mom was, I was so pissed off at her, how her mom was so ungrateful. But, you know, her mom was so ungrateful. Her mom was bilking the system, which I hated also. Like, I hate those people that find the loopholes in everything.
What about my welfare?
You know, like...
What about my Medicaid?
You know, whatever. You know, that being what it is. But the mom is so ungrateful for the house. It's like, your daughter just bought you a fucking house. Free and clear, no mortgage. Shut the fuck up. Take the house. You know, and that pissed me off already. That set the wrong, that set a certain tone with how the mom was in my mind. But then when the family comes to visit her days late, you know, they supposedly were in town for like a week. Mm-hmm. Then they went to visit her at the rehab center. And then, you know, they show up in like Walt Disney or Hollywood Studios T-shirts, and like they look like a bunch of tourists. And they walk in there with this lawyer, and they expect her to sign everything away. You know, they didn't go over the details of that document, but it sounded like, it sounded like Hilary Swank's character Maggie was supposed to sign over all of her assets to her mom. So with this broken family dynamic, what motivation does her mom have to keep her daughter alive at that point? Once she has control of all her assets, she's a prize fighter now, a champion,
former
champion. How much money does she have? Potentially quite a bit, because she paid cash for a house. The mom's going to say, fuck it, let the daughter die. I'm going to take her life insurance money, or, whatever it is. So like when Hilary Swank said, get this out of here, I'll never sign my life over to your hillbilly asses. Like that was awesome, because that was yet another thing in that recurring theme of always protecting yourself, because that's something that, Frankie, Clint Eastwood's character, was always saying to her, always protect yourself, and she still did it even to that point when she was in on her deathbed.
Yeah.
And just that was incredible.
One of my favorite shots of staying on this family train here is right after she leaves her mom in that house, and her and Clint Eastwood are at the gas station, and he's squeegeeing the window. The shot through the windshield where the water's kind of coming down over her face.
Yeah.
You're not sure if she's sad or upset and just crying, but that shot just telegraphs. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much. It was really, really well done, well directed.
Yeah.
All of it up and down.
Now, speaking of shots, because there was a shot I really liked too. There was a lot of shots I liked, but specifically the one I keep thinking of, and the one I wanted to ask you about, when Clint Eastwood went to kill her, and they kept showing Scrap. Was he in the room?
Not in the room. He was in the hallway. So they did a lot with light and shadows, which I really appreciated.
It was so good.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if Scrap or Morgan Freeman was there or not.
Yeah.
But when they kept switching the camera back to him, and they made it obvious that he was there. He had followed Clint Eastwood to the hospital, and just kind of stayed behind because they were at the gym. He's like, you got another fight you got to tell me about? He's like, no. They had that whole conversation.
Yeah.
He followed Clint Eastwood to the hospital and just hung back in the shadows and watched him kind of go in and do his thing and leave.
Right.
And then he went back to the gym to wait for him, but he never came back.
Yeah.
Another thing I like,
and then I'm just to piggyback on that the conversation that Scrap has with Danger, that Danger's that like major underdog guy, that you never think would amount to anything, but he's like, he has that drive a lot like what Hilary Swank's character has, and they have that conversation about you can always lose one fight, and it's like that. It was just such a poignant conversation to have at that moment.
Yeah, think about that is that Hilary Swank never lost a fight. She lost one fight, her last fight.
Right.
And I was trying to keep track of the fights up to a certain point, but the montage of the fights that she was winning was just so well done.
Yeah.
The whole choreography of her winning her early bouts, knocking them out in the first round, this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
And the tone really changed in that last fight. That choreography with the blue bear, the German girl.
Yeah.
They really did a good job of when she was going up the classes and the fights were getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of adjusting the choreography to make it feel like the stakes were getting raised each time.
Yeah, they really did.
That final fight, I was like, I really believe that she's winning. I mean, she's getting the best of her, but this girl's a dirty fighter. She could go down at any moment. And again, I knew what was going to happen, but the choreography was, I was in the fight.
Yeah.
I was there. I was nervous for her.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I was too. I was proverbially on the edge of my proverbial seat, and what I wondered though was when Clint Eastwood put the stool in there, was that in slow motion?
He did not put the stool in there. The other guy put the stool in there. Clint Eastwood was trying to
turn it upright
or pull it out or do something, just get it out of the way
because she was falling. And
and that's another thing. Like if Morgan Freeman was there, Because typically, up to this point, Clint Eastwood puts the stool out every time,
right?
But he's engrossed in the fight, so when the round is over, the other guy puts the stool up, but he just kind of puts it in there. Because no big deal. We'll get it up when she gets over because she's on her way over. Oh man, so good.
Yeah,
so good.
I didn't, as you saw, I didn't take any notes in this because I was very, very engaged. Is there anything else you want to bring up, or do you want to do numbers?
I got a couple things that I think I want to tease out a little bit.
Yeah.
Really loved Morgan Freeman's narration and how it was revealed at the end. I mean, we joke about Morgan Freeman's narration all the time.
Right.
And it's typically just him narrating because the story needs a narrator.
Right.
The twist at the end, it's revealed that it's actually a letter that he's writing to Clint Eastwood's daughter.
Right. I loved that. That was so good.
So good. So there's that. And one thing I want to bring up, this came up at the halfway point. Is it shitty that Morgan Freeman would introduce Maggie to the manager, Mickey Mack?
Did he? Oh, yeah.
On her birthday, on her 32nd birthday, he introduces her to Mickey Mack. They blow out at the diner. She gets a cupcake.
Right.
Is it shitty of him to do that? Because he's... And I bring this up because I think it's shitty.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't believe that... I don't think that Clint Eastwood is growing as a person. I think he's going to do the same thing to you that he did to Willie. And I think that he's just going to keep doing, 2 more fights, you'll be a champ. We'll get a title fight then.
Yeah.
And I think that Morgan Freeman is going to do that. Morgan Freeman thinks that Clint Eastwood's going to do that again to Maggie, to Hilary Swank.
Right.
So he says, well, let me at least give her the choice. Give her the choice.
Yeah. I don't think that was shitty. I don't think it was shitty that he gave her the choice. I think it was shitty that he wasn't supporting Clint Eastwood because he was, Frankie's friend. I don't think it was cool of him not to be supportive of his friend. But I see where you're coming from. But I don't think it was shitty for him to give her the option and say to say to her, he's a really good manager. If you want to go with him, he'll take you to the fight. He'll take you to the the championship or to the title.
Look what he did for Willie.
Right, exactly. I don't think it was shitty of him to open the door for her, but she knew what her choices were and what her options were because previously, I guess after one of the fights, she said to Clint Eastwood, are you going to leave me again? And Clint Eastwood's like, never. So he knew that they had formed that bond of like he's going to stick with her and she's going to stick with him kind of thing. So I kind of had a feeling she wasn't going to sign with him at that point.
I knew. I knew she was going to sign with him because it's that kind of movie. You know that bond is there. You know she's going to stick with him through and through. It's just that kind of film.
Yeah, exactly.
I personally think it's a little underhanded of Morgan Freeman to set that meeting up. I didn't think that was cool of him.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but
he's got her best interests in mind.
He does.
Then again,
that's what for me. That's why I don't think it's shitty.
Well, I mean, his best friend of umpteen years, the guy that they own a gym together, and I don't know.
Do they own it together, or does he just work for him?
He lives there.
Right.
He lives there, so he's paying rent. Clint Eastwood gives him money.
Yeah. So, but does that mean he's an employee, or is he like a partner, or does he own part of the business?
I don't know, but that's not made clear.
Irrelevant, but
yeah, it's still fun to think about and talk about.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think I have anything else. We talked about the grief. We talked about the letter. Willie winning the fight proves that Clint Eastwood is afraid of progress. When Willie was taken away from him by Mickey Mack, it just goes to show that Clint Eastwood is just afraid of taking chances. He's not growing as a person. He's not growing as a trainer. I think that's what that proves, because Willie, by the sheer fact of him winning the championship, just shows he was ready for a title fight. So what was Clint Eastwood? Was Clint Eastwood protecting himself? Was he trying to protect Willie?
Well, but he did grow as a person because he said he never trains girls and he trained Maggie.
True. I'm talking about up to that point in the film.
Sure, but that wasn't that far into the film.
No, it wasn't that far in the film.
So
but
I think it might have been too early to make that judgment call about Clint Eastwood's character not wanting to develop as a person or being afraid of success or being afraid of something because we didn't really know his character as well as we did by the end of the film.
Think about the conversation that Morgan Freeman had with Clint Eastwood after Willie won the title fight. Willie was ready for a title fight 2 years ago, and you're always like 2-3 more fights, 2-3 more fights. So what's the deal with that? So I like that it took Hilary Swank to get him out of his shell. The kind of remind him of his daughter helped him to grow. But it's there's real discernible character arcs that you can point to.
Sure.
And I love it.
Me too.
I think it's great.
Yeah. Anything else?
One last thing.
Sure.
Morgan Freeman's poetic as fuck.
Yes, he is.
Where is she from? Somewhere between nowhere and goodbye.
That's a credit to the writing.
Come on, it's so awesome.
Oh yeah, and Morgan Freeman's delivery of stuff like that is you can't get that anywhere else.
So great.
It really is.
I'm ready to do the numbers.
I am so ready to do the numbers. And Brian, what do you mean numbers? What are these numbers of which you talk about?
Well, if you visit our website, casualmovieclub.com, you can visit you can visit our leaderboard, casualmovieclub.com/leaderboard.
Or go to casualmovieclub.com and click on the button that says leaderboard, which just happens to be right next to the Patreon button. But go ahead.
Yeah, so that is where our list of films are, and they are ranked with a criteria of 6. The first is acting. How well did the actors convey the story? How believable were they?
Was it like they were showing up to just read lines, or was it like they were really immersed in their role?
The next category is script.
How well was the dialogue written? Did we feel like we were just reading, people reading just crap, or was it a legitimate story? And also things like the presentation, the editing and visual effects usage. Too much? Was it over the top? Was there not enough? Was there a shitload of green screening, or was it just well done? How were the visual elements of things?
Next category is music and sound. The soundtrack as a whole. How are the sound effects? How is the score? How is the music?
The goodies for your ears.
It's your favorite thing. I would never take that away from you.
I appreciate that, but you're welcome to. And is this movie unique? Have we seen this type of thing before? The unique factor. Has this movie been done before for the year it came out or earlier? Movies that came out afterwards don't count. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the final one is the engagement factor. Does the movie keep you engaged? Does it keep you on the edge of your seat? Or
are you busy weeding Twitter?
So those are the categories. And Brian, how about you start us off? What did you think of the acting?
4.5.
Are you serious?
4.5. I thought performances all around were really, really well done. Loved Hilary Swank. Loved Morgan Freeman. It was really, really good. There were some parts with Clint Eastwood where he was just a little over crotchety, but I can't say enough about how well these performances were delivered. It was I think the Oscars for Morgan Freeman and Hilary Swank were well deserved.
Agreed.
So good.
Agreed. I was going back and forth between two different scores on this, and I didn't care for the priest. I thought the priest was kind of a dick for most of the movie, but I'm willing to let that slide because he's really not that important of a character. The performances, and what I gauge my acting score on is the performances and the chemistry between the people on the screen. Acting, 5.
Nice.
I thought the acting was perfect. I really can't think of any. I mean, I liked Clint Eastwood's sort of over-crotchetiness, as you describe. I liked that because for some reason it just felt like it was part of his character. I could relate to that in a way.
Mm-hmm. I could watch Morgan Freeman and Clint Eastwood just be grumpy and snipe at each other all day.
Oh, me too. Me too. And honestly, I loved that this had that kind of Shawshank feel to it. The Shawshank Redemption, it had that feel to it with the Morgan Freeman narrating and everything. And then I loved how they made it a letter by the end. That was so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so script.
Do you want to go or you want me to go?
Oh, it's my turn. Because we usually alternate.
Okay.
So you started with your acting, which I think was too low. But anyway. Did I say that out loud? Script. 4.75. I really loved it. I don't know that I can say it was perfect, but it was just shy of it. I loved everything about it, though, and especially that the plot twists, the letter to Clint Eastwood's daughter. I loved it.
Yeah, I would score the script a 5 even. Yeah, it was really, really good. Who was the screenwriter? Paul Haggis.
Yeah, which that name sounds somewhat familiar. Have we seen him?
He's known for Crash and In the Valley of Ella. I don't know what that is.
Okay, I know Crash was really good.
We should do Crash.
We should. Okay, presentation, my friend. What say you on presentation?
You scored the script 4.75. I scored the script 5. Presentation, I give it 5 even. It was not a lot of green screen.
No.
It was all just put together very well. We talked about some of the director's choices for the shots.
Yeah.
It was total package. It's really good. I'm
echoing that 5 because I was going to say that I really liked how they did not make the fights overly grotesque. When they punches were landing and stuff like that, it wasn't blood all over the place. It wasn't gory. It was tasteful. But I also loved the camera work. I loved the lighting work as well. There's just the use of light and shadows for certain of the shots. I loved right at the end of the movie when Clint Eastwood's walking out of the nursing home or the rehab center. It's completely black except for the light at the end. He's walking out in shadow. Just beautifully done. Mm-hmm. So beautifully done. Music and sound. This is one that I didn't know. I wasn't sure if I really liked the sort of acoustic guitar stuff. It not that this is a bad thing, but the style of acoustic guitar score gave it a feel that I wasn't completely on board with.
Was it too simple?
No, it wasn't too simple. It just something about it just wasn't working for me. But I really liked the rest of it, so I'm giving music and sound 4.25 because I really did I loved the piano melodies and the piano motifs. I loved the other score. It was very simple, very tasteful. I wasn't feeling the solo acoustic guitar though. It wasn't working for me.
For me, I thought it was on point. It was perfect. The simple piano, the simple guitar. I thought it. We're watching a story. We're watching a film, and it added enough emotion in the right spots for me. So it did everything that it was supposed to do. So I'm scoring it a 5.
Wow. Cool. All right. How about uniqueness?
Well, so this is a boxing film, and there are Rocky films that have come out well before it, and
plus Raging Bull,
and
the boxer.
Yeah, and not just Karate Kid 2, but Karate Kid 1 and all that. This is the student coming to the master to try to curry favor and then get them to train them, and then in the end everybody wins. But that's where this one differs. Who really wins at the end of this? It's not really a happy ending.
No, it's not.
It's a very unique film, but it's not wholly unique.
Right.
I'm scoring it a 4.
I'm going with you on that. And honestly, I couldn't have said it better myself. I agree that this does borrow a lot from movies we've seen before, like Raging Bull, the Boxer, Karate Kid movies. We've seen those, the trainer and the student movies. That's not new. So I think 4 is an appropriate place for it. Because the story is what makes it unique, even though it borrows from those tropes of other films that we've seen.
Right.
Engagement factor, this one, I'm going right with a 5, because to the point where I wasn't even taking notes. And you know me, I'm a hardcore note taker.
Yeah.
I was so ensconced in this movie, I wasn't even taking notes. And I really was... I didn't feel at any point that this was a slow movie. Repeat watches, I might feel different about it, but I felt engaged in the movie, and I feel like the shot lengths were very appropriate for making sure that it didn't drag. And I don't know if you noticed this, there were a couple of shots that were very short. There was one shot where it was just like, it wasn't even a shot of them talking in the car. It was just the car driving down the road for 5 seconds, and that was it, and then went to something else. So there were some little establishing shots that were there just long enough to give you an idea of what was happening, but it wasn't like we're doing an establishing shot of the car driving down the road, now we're in the car having a conversation, blah, blah, blah. It was just like, oh, here's them driving. Or, we're in the nursing home, I keep saying nursing home, but the rehab center, and, Clint Eastwood leans over and just gives her a little kiss. That looks like a minute long shot. That was all we needed. We didn't need anything more. It was very appropriately done, and it kept the pace of the movie going, so that yes, it was a 2 hour and 15-minute movie. It didn't feel like it.
Yeah, it did not feel as long as its length really was for me either. Yeah. At the halfway point, it didn't feel like a halfway point. It felt like we were just starting the movie still. But even then, the rest of the movie, just I was in it for the whole thing.
Yeah.
When she got injured, I looked at the timestamp, and there was 40 minutes left.
Yeah.
Between when she got injured and when credits rolled.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought to myself, ooh. Are we just going to be hemming and hawing around her bed the whole time, just waiting for her to die?
Yeah.
And it's... they used that time very well.
They did.
It did not drag. I was afraid it was going to drag around that point, but it didn't.
Yeah.
And it all still stayed very engaging to me. I'm scoring to 5.
Awesome. I am doing a take backsies, by the way. I'm going on my script scoring, and I'm bumping it up to a 5. So
cool.
Do you want to do any take backsies, or are your numbers in?
I'm very happy with my numbers.
Cool. I really would like to do another take backsies, but I know we don't allow that on.
One time.
I know.
One time.
I know. But this is the first movie that we have not 1, not 2, but 3 categories with perfect 5s.
Yeah, that's...
Because I'm looking at our leaderboard right now. Princess Bride's got a 5 in acting. Speed has a 5 in music and sound.
This is going to beat Whiplash.
It is.
I'm confident.
It is. Raging Bull's got a 5 in acting.
Raging Bull was so good.
It was. Star Wars has a 5 in music and sound. So we've got some 5s littered across the board here. But this movie, and we're talking averages, because what we do, and I think I mentioned this in the previous episode, but, Brian and I both give our scores, and then I have a spreadsheet that gives, when I give you guys the final numbers, that's the average between Brian's and my score. So that way, for acting, I gave it a 5, Brian gave it a 4.5, so our acting score is 4.75, and so forth and so on. Then we take the total number. I know this is a lot of math that you guys are probably like, we don't care, just tell us the numbers. I'm going to tell you anyway. Then we take all the numbers, so for acting, script, presentation, music, and sound, uniqueness, engagement factor, take the average of that, and that's what we rank our movies by. So based on that, Brian, the numbers are in.
I'm excited.
This is for $1 Million Baby from 2004, starring Clint Eastwood, Hilary Swank, Morgan Freeman, and some other people. And the numbers are as follows. Acting, 4.75. Script, 5. Presentation, 5. Music and sound, 4.63. Uniqueness, 4. Engagement, 5. Total average, 4.73.
That feels right.
Number 1 above Whiplash by a landslide.
That feels right.
This movie is a champ. It's a fantastic movie. Well-deserved place at the top of the Casual Movie Club leaderboard. So I cannot recommend it more highly for all you folks to go and watch this movie and buy it on iTunes or wherever movies are sold. You know, it's an incredible movie. Definitely an incredible movie. That being said, let's talk about next week.
What do you want to do? What numbers next week's episode?
Next week is going to be episode number 38.
And
it's my surprise.
It's your surprise movie. Okay.
And I've already got it picked out.
Fantastic.
And it will not be at the top of our leaderboard.
You're confident of that?
Yup.
Okay.
So, if you guys and gals who are listening to this want to play a part in picking movies that we do, you can join our Patreon by going to casualmovieclub.com and then click on click on the button right next to leaderboard, Patreon. It'll take you to our Patreon page where you can join for as little as $1 a month or as much as you would like per month to help us keep the podcast up and running and keep the lights on, so to speak. We would love to have you join us on that level so you can help us out there, and you get perks like getting access to our podcast a day early because we release our podcast on Thursdays, so you can get access to them on Wednesday, so you get us even sooner. And for those of you that are not yet on our Patreon, that's okay. Please go over and check it out. We would love to have you on there. We would also love to hear from anyone listening to us on Twitter and Instagram. You can reach us at Casual Movie Club. You can also send us an email, casualmovieclub@hotmail.com. You can also send us a text message or a phone call, like a voicemail message thingy, at 402-882-2742. That is 402-882-2742. And it is not a live number because I know some of you might be a little squeamish about calling a random number from some podcasters that you listen to, but we will not put you on the spot. Just feel free to leave us a message or send us a text, and we'll be happy to read that on our next episode. You can also email us. I think I said that already, casualmovieclub@hotmail.com. Did I miss anything?
Oh, no, I think you got it.
Oh, sweet. I'm just in the zone when I do that. I'm just like, I just prattle it off. So next week's my surprise movie. Brian, anything else you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Wow, man. Well, on that note, you guys and gals, thanks so much again for tuning in. We always appreciate every time people listen to us. We would love to have anyone who wants to be a part of the Casual Movie Club. All are welcome.
Everyone's welcome.
Everyone's welcome in the Casual Movie Club. Love that awkward silence. So until next time, we'll see you, and thanks again for listening.
Okay, bye.